Putin signs law giving criminal defendants immunity if they join the army. Chinese mercenaries fighting for Russia killed in Ukraine, claimed in a report. Russia scraps population census as war casualties mount.
CIA seeks informants in China, North Korea and Iran recruiting online. In the U.S., 5 Chinese nationals charged with covering up midnight visit to Michigan military site. Russian state TV employee caught impersonating BBC reporter to film Russian opposition figures in Europe.
Zelensky calls for jointly intercepting Russian missiles during NATO chief Rutte's visit to Kiev, as new NATO chief Mark Rutte visits Ukraine in his first trip since taking office. NATO won't shoot down Russian missiles and drones over Ukraine as it's involving us in war in different way, announced by Pentagon.
Nasrallah's reported successor, Hashem Safieddine, targeted in Israel Air Force's strike in Beirut, said in a report. Iran will attack Israel again if necessary, Supreme Leader says in rare speech. Biden says, U.S. discussing possible Israeli strikes on Iran oil facilities and Indian Navy ships reach Iranian port for training, amid West Asia tensions. U.S. crude oil jumps as Biden comments on possible Israel retaliation against Iran. Slovakia says it has strong interest in maintaining transit of Russian oil, gas via Ukraine, as if war ends I'll restore relations with Russia, Slovakia's Fico says. 10 days ago, Slovak Prime Minister PM Robert Fico gets a bullet in the mail. Warsaw condemns Moscow for abductions of children in Ukraine, as Polish foreign minister likens Russian kidnapping of Ukrainian children to Nazi crimes in UN speech.
Yazidi woman kidnapped by IS when she was 11 freed from Gaza. In U.S.-led operation after decade in captivity. French jihadist linked to Charlie Hebdo attackers, sentenced to life in prison. Bloomberg comments as Israel's fight with Islamist groups puts Arab world in dilemma, and Reuters reports that Gulf states sought to reassure Iran of their neutrality in Iran and Israel conflict, sources say.
Wall Street Journal comments as Donald Trump Jr. became the crown prince of MAGA world. Elon Musk's mother encouraged ex-followers to commit voter fraud, as she is fact-checked on Sun's platform. Recently in U.S. presidential elections, Elon Musk's mother may under fire for suggesting Republicans make 10 fake names to vote. Kushner has discussed U.S. and Saudi diplomacy with Saudi crown prince since leaving office. Trump resorted to crimes to overturn 2020 election. Special counsel reveals in new evidence, as Trump not entitled to immunity for efforts to overturn 2020 election, U.S. special counsel says. Video shows J.D. Vance saying Trump won the 2020 election. New details emerge on Trump's alleged plan to use fake electors to overturn election loss, as Rudy Giuliani allegedly sent a text begging Michigan to overturn 2020 election. But he got the wrong number. Our CMP official won't say whether Chinese police stations are still operating in Canada. Bugging device found in my bathroom after Netanyahu visit, claims Boris Johnson. Chinese woman arrested in Germany on suspicion of espionage, prosecutor says.
UK cedes Chagos Island sovereignty to Mauritius, retains Diego Garcia airbase. Argentina vows to gain full sovereignty of the Falklands with concrete action after Chagos deal. Masamitsu Yoshioka, last Pearl Harbor bombardier, dies at 106, 500 pounds US WW2 bomb explodes at Japanese airport 80 years later.
MPs to get historic vote on England and Wales assisted dying bill. In the U.S., 10 pharmaceutical distributor executives, sales representatives, and brokers charged in connection with unlawful sales of nearly 70 opioid pills. WHO approves first monkeypox diagnostic test for emergency use, boosting global access.
In Italy, Bologna imam expelled for voicing support for Hamas. In India, government bans Lebanon-based terror outfit Hizb-ut Tahrir. 5 Arab Israelis indicted over plot to car bomb Tel Aviv skyscraper.
Taiwan's president vows to resist annexation by China in National Day speech. Former Taiwan leader Tsai to visit Czech Republic, other European destinations, drawing China's ire. Chechnya's Kadyrov threatens blood feud, accuses Russian MPs of plotting his murder, state media reports. White House says Sinwar remains Hamas decision-maker, alive in Gaza.
In Canada, Victims of Communism Memorial faces called to remove over 330 names linked to Nazis, fascists, FBI announces the repatriation of a Nazi-looted Monet, missing for more than 80 years, to the heirs of original owners. In the U.S., TD Bank pleads guilty to Bank Secrecy Act and money laundering conspiracy violations in $1.8 billion resolution, as 92% of total transaction volume going unmonitored in certain years.
Russia is on a sustained mission to create mayhem on Europe's streets, UK spy chief says. FBI arrests Afghan man who officials say planned election day attack in the U.S. Israel has not briefed U.S. military officials on its plans for retaliation against Iran, U.S. officials say, and U.S. to give Israel compensation if it hits acceptable targets in Iran, claimed in a report.
Putin's merchant of death is back in the arms business. This time selling to the Houthis, as Victor Bout is trying to sell weapons to the Houthis, Western officials say. UN members reject Saudi bid to join its Human Rights Council. Russia has suffered more than 600,000 casualties in Ukraine, U.S. official says.
IDF says it killed Hamas de facto PM, Sinwar's right-hand man, in strike 3 months ago. Reuters special report claims, emails show early U.S. concerns over Gaza offensive, risk of Israeli war crimes, Middle East conflict sparks Chinese national pride, criticism of Israel. Ryanair will eliminate airport check-in desks and paper boarding passes. PepsiCo to buy tortilla chip maker Siete Foods for $1.2 billion. NASDAQ faces inquiry from 22 GOP state attorneys general over diversity rules. Gazprom becomes Russia's least profitable company in 2023, Forbes reports. Rumors of Stellantis and Renault merger are pure speculation, says Stellantis CEO. China's stock boom may turn to bust as in 2015, Nomura warns. Interpol arrests 8 in major phishing and romance fraud crackdown in West Africa. Lockbit ransomware and Evil Corp members arrested and sanctioned in joint global effort. In the U.S., 2 foreign nationals sentenced for multimillion-dollar scheme to defraud Apple Incorporated out of 6,000 iPhones.
Poland funds Starlink modules used by Ukrainian soldiers, not Musk, says Polish Foreign Affairs Minister Sikorski. UK considering sending troops to west of Ukraine for recruit training. Macron inspects Ukrainian troops training at a French military camp.
Unilever exits Russia with sale of all assets to local company. Reuters reports that China's Chery assembles cars in Russian plants vacated by Western rivals. Donald Trump doubles down on China carmakers being unwelcome in U.S. market.
Iran summons Australia envoy over comments on attack on Israel. Iran is increasingly desperate, retired U.S. general says. Israel intensifies bombardment of Gaza and southern Lebanon ahead of October 7th anniversary.
In the UK, FCA fines Starling Bank £29 million for failings in their financial crime systems and controls. Coinbase to delist unauthorized stablecoins in EU by December. Cyber cops stopped 500 ransomware hacks since 2021, DHS says. It has been commented as Federal Reserve drives global push to cut rates despite questions over 2025, and Federal Reserve's rate cut unlikely to boost U.S. auto sales in Q4, as inflation in Europe falls below 2%, paves way for faster interest rate cuts. Czech central bank chief vows to cut rates very cautiously. Romania to pause rate cuts before central bank board reshuffle. Citibank says lira strength appears to be curbing Turkey inflows.
Mozambique's presidential frontrunner likely to keep Rwandans protecting gas sites. Trump vows to restore Confederate general's name to NC military base. DNA reveals identity of officer on the lost Franklin expedition, and his remains show signs of cannibalism.
In Germany, economic researchers warn of further increase in bankruptcies. UK resumes Swiss trade talks and global Britain push. IMF demand on special economic zones to dissuade China investments in Pakistan, as reported by Bloomberg.
UNIFIL confirms Israel hit 3 bases. Israeli forces fire at UN position in Lebanon, 22 killed in Beirut strike. Italy summons Israeli ambassador after UN observers wounded in Lebanon. Israel recommends Lebanon peacekeepers move, says UN envoy.
Palestinian Islamic Jihad head killed in airstrike in West Bank. Iraqi Shiite militia threatens to attack U.S. forces if assaulted by Israel. Stop Israel from bombing Iran's oil sites. Gulf states urge U.S.
Ukraine Zelensky outlines victory plan to allies, discusses long-range weapons. 20 days ago, Moscow says it will not participate in Second Ukraine Peace Summit. Zelensky denies ceasefire with Russia under discussion on Europe trip, and Zelensky says Ukraine won't consider exchanging territories for Western guarantees.
U.S. Department of Justice requests information from Saab North America Incorporated regarding Brazil's acquisition of Gripen fighters in 2014. China slaps sanctions on 3 U.S. firms, 10 senior execs over weapons sales to Taiwan. BRICS nations set for 4.4% growth in 2024 through 2025, outpacing G7 economies.
Just 2.5% of U.S. homes changed hands in 2024, the lowest rate in decades. U.S. 30 years mortgage rises to 6.32%, biggest weekly gain since April, Freddie Mac says. In Germany, economic researchers warn of further increase in bankruptcies. Bank of Korea cuts rate to 3.25% as inflation cools, ending longest rate freeze.
Air India buys 85 Airbus jets, eyes more Boeings, sources say. Bloomberg reports as aircraft debt sales are rebounding after Russia plane seizures. Italy sets conditions for Como's stake sale by Stellantis. Stellantis ousts CFO in effort to stabilize reeling business. South Korea unveils world's first autonomous, amphibious robotic missile launcher. Chinese laser weapon similar to British Dragonfire, reportedly spotted in Iran. Germany will send more weapons to Israel soon, Scholl says.
North Korean troops fighting for Russia in Ukraine, as announced by Seoul, and Kremlin dismisses reports of North Korean soldiers fighting in Ukraine. Africans recruited to work in Russia duped into building drones for use in Ukraine. The Financial Times comments as, "No one but Moscow gains from Polish and Ukrainian tensions." 15 days ago, it has been reported that Putin will likely control part of Ukraine when war ends, Czech president says. 1 month ago, Harris suggested that Russia could target Poland if Ukraine loses the war.
EU countries greenlight €35 billion loan for Ukraine using Russia's frozen assets. EU's von der Leyen urges Moldovans to vote, announces $2 billion in aid. Ukrainian media outlet says it's being pressured by Zelensky's office.
Nobel Prize in Economics 2024 awarded to trio for work on differences in prosperity between nations, as trio of professors win Nobel Economics Prize for work on post-colonial wealth. BlackRock's assets hit record $11.5 trillion amid private market push. China property stocks jump after Beijing proposes measures to lift troubled sector.
Uber, Lyft avoided millions in pay by locking NYC drivers out of apps, claimed in a report. X drops Unilever from lawsuit against advertisers, citing a new agreement. Boeing to cut 17,000 jobs and delay first 777X delivery as strike hits finances. Russia's illegal use of Starlink terminals hasten fall of Volodar, The Washington Post reports. An unknown drone fleet breached U.S. military base airspace in Virginia for 17 straight days, claimed in a report.
The Atlantic comments as, rumors on X are becoming the right's new reality. The Federalist comments as, Kamala Harris is too stupid to be president. Also comments as, a vote for Donald Trump is a vote for normalcy. Judge agrees to unseal additional filings from January 6 case as Trump signals challenge.
In the UK, Chancellor Rachel Reeves considering raising capital gains tax as high as 39%. China steps up checks of wealth management products after $149 billion outflow. Bloomberg comments as, unions need to join the 21st century economy.
Fortune reports as, criminals prefer cash to crypto. New report finds, Visa introduces the Visa tokenized asset platform that helps banks issue fiat-backed tokens. Franklin Templeton files for Bitcoin and Ethereum Index ETF with the SEC.
SEC appeals Ripple ruling as Bitwise files for XRP ETF, and SEC's enforcement chief exits as Ripple appeal looms. Kraken to end Monero support in European Economic Area. Mercado Bitcoin taps Ripple for payments between Brazil and Portugal.
Standard Chartered says, Bitcoin not a safe haven against geopolitical risk. Gold is. Australia's police confiscates crypto worth $6.4 million in crackdown on ghost messaging app. PayPal settles invoice with EY and PYUSD first business payment.
U.S. Labor Board accuses Apple of restricting workers' Slack social media use. U.S. blacklisted Chinese surveillance camera maker Hikvision set to be cutting jobs. Reportedly, Apple wants to launch smart glasses to salvage the billions it spent on Vision Pro.
Hezbollah drone attack kills 4 IDF soldiers as U.S. prepares to send missile system to Israel, as U.S. confirms it's sending THAAD, the missile defense battery, 100 troops to operate it, to Israel. Secret documents show Hamas tried to persuade Iran to join its October 7th attack. It has been reported as Harris addresses to Jewish voters with all options on the table to stop Iran from going nuclear.
Trump's World Liberty Financial submits proposal to Ethereum DeFi protocol Aave. It has been speculated as Trump-linked DeFi venture could double Aave's treasury overnight with $100 million boost. The FBI secretly created a coin to investigate crypto pump and dump schemes. Apple hosts secretive conferences to teach law enforcement how to better use iPhone, CarPlay, and Vision Pro for police work. OKX launches fully licensed platform for retail and institutional investors in UAE. Ripple expands custody business to offer bank-grade service to crypto firms. Formerly Swaziland, Eswatini Central Bank unveils digital Lilangeni design paper.
Sam Bankman-Fried's bankrupt FTX crypto exchange is cleared to repay customers. Former Bitcoin developer Peter Todd denies he's Satoshi. Hours before HBO documentary airs, Crypto.com sues U.S. SEC after receiving legal threat from regulator.
Prosecutors charge for crypto market makers, employees with market manipulation and fraud. As in the U.S., 18 individuals and entities charged in international operation targeting widespread fraud and manipulation in the cryptocurrency markets. FTC takes action against Marriott and Starwood over multiple data breaches. MoneyGram says hackers stole customers' personal information and transaction data. Mark Cuban still loves Dogecoin, but every meme coin is a rug pull in the works. IMF urging El Salvador to limit Bitcoin use and tighten regulations. Analysis reveals possible 51% attacks by Satoshi on Bitcoin in early 2009. An upcoming HBO documentary claims to have identified Satoshi Nakamoto.
Court says betting on U.S. congressional elections can resume for now. In Brazil, Haddad says 2,000 illegal betting sites will be taken offline. Robinhood lets Brits lend shares for extra income and bid to grow international footprint.
Arab League condemns what it describes as Israel's brutal scenario in Lebanon. Oxfam says more women, children killed by Israel in Gaza than in any other conflict in 2 decades. Nobel Peace Prize could honor UNRWA, ICJ, and UN Chief Guterres, as Security Council backs Guterres after Israeli move to label UN chief persona non grata.
Crypto ETF issuer Fidelity says breach leaked data of 77K customers. Pro-KYC deepfake tool exploited to bypass crypto exchange security. FBI warns of cryptocurrency scams as report finds Californians lost $1 billion.
In the U.S., SEC charges Cumberland DRW for operating as an unregistered dealer in the crypto asset markets. Dubai's VARA fines, issues cease and desist orders against 7 crypto entities. China to sell $1.3 billion of Ethereum from C's Plus token scheme.
Bitcoin recognized as divisible property in South Korean divorces. Almost half of traditional hedge funds are dabbling in crypto. Stripe reintegrates crypto payments in the USA.
Vance says a future Trump administration would defund Planned Parenthood. Muslim faith leaders endorse Harris. Harris weighs more breaks with Biden as he keeps injecting himself into the campaign.
Axios comments as potential Trump loss threatens destruction of modern GOP. Over 10,000 anti-Semitic incidents recorded in the U.S. since October 7, 2023. According to ADL preliminary data, NBC comments as, the next president is poised to inherit the fewest judicial vacancies in generations.
Musk says he'll attend Trump rally in Butler, seen a July shooting. Liz Cheney invokes January 6th. as she touts endorsement of Harris in Wisconsin. Republican election denier Tina Peters sentenced to 9 years in prison for voting data scheme.
Jamie Dimon denies Trump's claim that JP Morgan's CEO has endorsed him. Ben Horowitz will donate to Harris campaign after Trump support. Small dollar donations drive Trump campaign past $160 million in September.
EU vote on Chinese EV tariffs inconclusive, leaving EU Commission to decide. EU sources say, recently, EU was set to vote on tariffs targeting electric vehicles from China. Germany lobbies fellow EU members to vote against tariffs on Chinese EVs, as German Union. Auto workers call on Germany to vote against EU tariffs on Chinese EVs. Scholz advisor says EV tariffs, not good idea. Ahead of vote, in China, EU must reason their way out of EV dispute, says Merkel's former advisor. Shares in Stellantis. Aston Martin skid on profit warnings, as European carmakers warn on profits in the face of weak demand and rising costs.
Walz says the Electoral College needs to go. Romney won't endorse Harris, saying he wants to keep his voice in the party. Wall Street Journal comments as, Biden and Harris mismanaged Hurricane Helene. Kremlin says, Trump sent Putin COVID tests while president. 1 day ago, it has been reported that Trump secretly gave Putin COVID test machines, as Bob Woodward's book says. Trump says, Gaza could be better than Monaco. Vanity Fair comments as, lying is loyalty in Trump's GOP.
Trump allies threaten Deloitte contracts after employees shares Vance chats. Reportedly, porn industry jumps into the presidential campaign, targeting Project 2025, as porn stars launch campaign against Project 2025 targeting swing states. Elon Musk's PAC is paying $47 for each solicited petition signature from a swing state voter.
Trump rejects Fox News invite to debate Harris in late October, as Fox News Media proposes Trump and Harris presidential debate in Pennsylvania. Tim Walz rally goes live on World of Warcraft Twitch stream. A former aide to New York Mayor Eric Adams is charged with destroying evidence as top deputy quits. Bolsonaro-backed candidates pull ahead in Brazil mayor elections. Reuters reports that conservative think tank targeting NASA employees' communications about Musk and Trump. Hillary Clinton says social media companies need to moderate content or we lose total control. Michigan newspaper issues correction after Trump claims he won Man of Year award. Roger Stone suggests using armed guards during election in secret video. FCC chair denounces Trump's calls for CBS to lose its license over Harris's 60 Minutes interview.
Donald Trump says Project 2025 author coming on board if elected. Donald Trump is Putin's source at the top, says former CIA chief. The Atlantic endorses Harris, with she believes in democracy. U.S. meteorologists face death threats as hurricane conspiracies surge, and sleeper agent bots on X fuel U.S. election misinformation, study says.
Obama lashes out at crazy Trump in first U.S. election rally for Harris. CBS News says Trump campaign had shifting explanations for why he snubbed 60 Minutes. Trump insults Detroit while campaigning in the city, as Trump, pitching aid for Michigan automakers, insults Detroit.
Pedro Sanchez unveils plans to help migrants settle in Spain, and Spain's Sanchez touts benefits of migration as European neighbors tighten borders. Reportedly, Japan seeks to draw digital nomads, who are seen as beneficial to economy, society. Italy's hard-right government set to send sea migrants to Albania in bid to curb arrivals.
Taiwan says 4 iPhone maker staff detained in China under strange circumstances. CDNR nears deal to buy Sanofi's consumer unit for $16 billion. Source says, UPU names Deutsche Post and Swiss Post as best in the world.
Trump pledges raises and 10,000 more agents in border plan. Man with guns arrested near Trump rally in Coachella. Riverside sheriff says they stopped assassination attempt. Armed man, Vem Miller arrested outside Trump's Coachella rally, as local sheriff insists it was third assassination attempt, despite letting perp walk on meager $5,000 bail. Trump says national abortion ban is off the table, but we'll see what happens.
Cheney does not have faith Mike Johnson will certify election. America First Policy Institute, a group advising Trump, says its systems were breached, as Trump-aligned group believed to have been attacked by Chinese hackers. Reportedly, black voters drift from Democrats, imperiling Harris's bid, poll shows.
Musk says he is all in on Trump in U.S. election. Trump plans to appoint Musk as Secretary of Cost-Cutting. California officials reject more SpaceX rocket launches, with some citing Musk's ex-posts. Elon Musk says he will take legal action after California officials cited his politics when rejecting SpaceX launches. Obama tells black men it's not acceptable to sit out election.
Boris Johnson defends Trump's claims on Ukraine and January 6 riot. Trump requests military plane, increased protection amid security threats.